Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Writing with Miss Anjos and Khaleesi. Today is Wednesday, March 25th, 2020. Okay, now, before we get started with anything else, if you have not watched Mr. Skyer's read aloud lesson, I want you to pause this video, go back, watch his lesson, do the exit ticket, and then come back and join me for writing. If you have done his lesson, then we can continue with this lesson. All right, now before moving into the lesson, I do want to say don't forget to leave a comment or send us a text or an email with a picture of you doing your hard work so you could be chosen to video chat with 3 of your friends any day of the week. All right, so in order to get started, we need to make sure we have all our materials. You're going to take out your writing packet. You are going to have a fully sharpened pencil. And for those of you accessing this on a tablet or on the computer, I'm going to show you where to find your materials next. Okay, so for those of you accessing this at home, I'm going to show you where to go. You're going to go to Distance Learning Materials. You're going to click on first grade, because again, that's still us. You're going to go to writing. Again, I want you to choose which plan you're going to use. So today I am going to use a box and bullet, which looks like this. But you can choose which one you're going to use. This one, this box and bullet with handwriting without tears lines, or the web. I want you to go ahead and decide which plan you're going to use. You're only choosing one. Okay, now that you've chosen your plan, we're going to go to where it says read aloud literary essay prompts, because today we're writing about a read aloud character that we did with Mr. Skyer earlier. So you're going to click on this folder. You're going to go to where it says 3/25, which is today's date, Berenstain Bears. And you're going to click on your prompt, and it should look like this. Okay. Now, if you have the packet, this is the 5th prompt in your packet. Past those planning pages, the 5th section. All right. So you're going to go to Distance Learning Materials on a different link if you're accessing this at home. And we're going to go to first grade again. And we're actually going to click on Read Aloud, because we are going to need evidence to support our argument of what the character is like. So you're going to go to Wednesday, 3/25, which is today's date. And then you're going to click on this is part 1 of the book. Okay. And this is part 2 of the book. And we're going to be leaving this up because we are going to find our evidence, and then you're going to see me write it close up. So today we're just going to pull the evidence, and then we'll use that to help with our writing later. All right. All right, friends, and we are back. So by later, I meant later in the video. Okay, so today we are going to be answering this prompt, which is based off of the character that you read in Read Aloud with Mr. Skyer today. How would you describe the character Sister Bear in the Berenstain Bears and the Big Spelling Bee? Now, we have to brainstorm because we need to choose one word that's going to describe what Sister Bear is like, and we're going to back it up with evidence and examples from the book. All right, so let's brainstorm some words. Let's think of what Sister Bear went through in the book when she was either preparing for the spelling bee, what she was feeling, what she was saying to her family and her friends. What was she like? Go ahead, you can call them out. You can tell the person around you. You can comment below on the screen. All right. I have one. Scholarly. Right? She cared a lot about what she was learning in school. You could see it in the illustrations when she's like hopeful that she'll get passed to the big spelling bee. I have reflective. It's kind of a big word, but she thinks about her like what her choice is going to be, right? She knows she has that practice, but she knows she also wants to make her dad proud. Okay? We know that she is very active or involved in school, which is how she is on the soccer team, and she is invested. That means she puts in the time and the effort into her schoolwork too. So we know she's really active and involved at school. We know that she's confident, right? In looking at the illustrations and thinking of how she tries every time she is up for something, she believes in herself. She knows deep down that she can do these things, whether it's her soccer practice or making it to the big spelling bee. She's just having trouble with that choice. And we can tell that she is honest. She's not afraid to share how she really feels with her friends, with her teacher, and even the hardest one, with her family. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words that describe what Sister Bear is like in the Berenstain Bears. Now, these words describe Sister Bear throughout the whole book, not just certain parts. Okay, right now I want you to think which word you're going to use, which one speaks to you the most about what Sister Bear is like, and which one are you going to be able to find the most evidence for in convincing us what kind of character Sister Bear is like. So I am going to choose honest. That is the word I'm going to choose. It is okay if you choose a different word, okay? If you choose the same one as me, I want to make it very clear that it's completely fine. Your evidence and your examples just need to be different than mine, okay? So go ahead and choose which word you're going to use now. I'll repeat them again just in case you can't see them. Scholarly, reflective, active or involved, confident, and honest. I'll hold it up. Okay. Once you've done that, you can take out the plan that you chose. So again, I chose a box and bullet, but you may be using a web or the box and bullet with the handwriting without tears lines. Okay. So, now that we've chosen our word, we can write our topic sentence. As I write mine, you're writing yours. Remember, your topic sentence is always short, clear, and it tells the reader exactly where you stand. So in this case, we're talking about what Sister Bear is like. Okay, so I'm going to say in the text, the Berenstain Bears, and you're writing that same thing. Bears And the big spelling bee. Sister Bear is a character that is honest. That's the word I chose. Yours is going to be different or the same, but using different evidence. Now, remember, when I write my evidence, closing that up, it is going to prove this to be, why prove that this character is this way. These are not going to be full sentences in my plan because I'm going to do that in my actual writing. All right, now it's time to look for the evidence. Here we go. All right, friends. Now, remember, today is going to look a little different. I'm going to look through the book with you on the screen. We're going to pick out evidence. You're going to think back to when Mr. Schuyler read to you, along with looking back with me in the book. And I'm looking for the evidence that supports my example, and you're going to think of the evidence that supports yours. So I said that she was honest. So if I'm looking back in the book and I'm thinking to everything that happens, that means the illustrations, thinking of the events that take place. I want to know what is going to prove her to be honest. When you're honest, you share how you really feel. You speak what's on your mind. Okay. So far, I don't see anything. So then, as I get deeper into the book, I find my first piece of evidence for my example. Now it says, next Tuesday, said Sister, but I have an important soccer practice next Tuesday. I'm just junior varsity, but we have to get the varsity ready for a big game. Teacher Jane just smiled. I wouldn't worry about that. There'll be a lot more practice, but there's just one school spelling bee. So I'm going to write that down for reason one as page 11. Okay. I'm going to take a note of that, and then I will show it to you on my actual chart. Now, I'm going to look for my second piece of evidence. So she just told her teacher how she really felt. Let's look and see if she does that with anybody else. This is kind of like a tough pickle she's going through. Okay, so as I'm scrolling through the book, I'm looking at these illustrations and I'm noticing something must be going on, right? So she starts off the page and says, I'm not so sure it's good news. The school spelling bee is on Tuesday, so I'm going to miss an important soccer practice. And her friend says, there will be a lot more, but there's only one. And before she can even finish, Sister interrupts her and says, I know, there's only one school spelling bee. So she's being honest with her friend that she knows how difficult this choice is going to be for her to make because she wants to be both, be a part of both. So let's write page 13. Now I'm writing just the page numbers because I want you to see me actually writing the evidence on my chart. Now as I scroll through the book, I'm looking if there's any more evidence of her being honest. We see Papa talking to her. We see him talking to her friends when they try to stop by. Okay. It wasn't in part one, so now we're going to go to part two. Let's see. Now we're getting into the actual spelling bee part. Okay. Now we see
Papa's excited. We see that Sister Bear is nervous. Nothing yet that's showing me she's being honest yet. Okay, so now she wins, she makes it. Okay, now on this page, she says, Papa, I don't know how to say this, and I don't want to disappoint you, but I don't want to go to the all-school spelling bee in Big Bear City. I just want to go to school, play soccer, and do things with my friends. Now, I think you all can relate to that, am I right? She's honest with her dad, which was a really hard thing to do because he's the one that did a spelling bee. And he wanted her to follow in his footsteps, and he was so proud and excited for her. But she was like, no, I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to say what I'm really feeling. So I'm going to mark page 27 as my last page of evidence. Okay? Now, if you need to look back through the text, you can always pause this video and go to the read aloud folder and do what we just did on the screen, or you could go back to Mr. Sky's video and hear him read it again.
All right, everyone, it looks like we're in need of a movement break. So we are going to learn a cheer that actually applies to all of you. Now, those of you in Unicamp already know it, all right? But for the rest of you, you're gonna follow right after me. Ready? Okay, here we go. They know I'm a scholar. They say I'm a master. At Brook, all I want to do is learn all day. At Brook, all I want to do is learn all day. All right, now we're gonna try it with some instrumentals. Now, if you don't wanna sing, you can just dance along and enjoy this movement. Stretch those arms and legs and get ready to get re-inspired in expressing our opinion in writing. All for the brook. They know I'm a scholar, they say I'm a master. At Brook, all I wanna do is learn all day. At Brook, all I wanna do is learn all day. Alright, now as you can see, I wrote my page numbers down. So now I'm gonna write the evidence so you can actually see it nice and close up. Okay, so on page 11, that's when she says, next Tuesday, I have an important soccer practice. And she says that to her teacher. Right? This tells her teacher how worried she is because she wants to be a part of both things. I go to my reason too. I wrote page 13. Now on page 13, that's when, who was the next person she was honest with? Her friend. So she said, I know. There's only one spelling bee. And this shows her friend how much of a hard time she's struggling with this choice she has to make. She's being true and honest with her feelings. Okay, so you should have both your reasons filled out. If you didn't finish that up now, All right. And now when we go to reason 3, I'm thinking of the last time she was honest. And that person she was honest with was the hardest of them all, right? It was her father, right? She just wanted to make him proud and didn't want to let him down. I think we can all share this feeling. Okay? So she says, I don't know how to say this. And as I write my third reason, you're going to write your evidence, your third piece of evidence. Don't know how to say this. And I don't want to disappoint you. But I don't want to go. Want to go. Now the reason I put a ... at the end of that is because I'm not writing out the entire sentence. These are 3 points in the book that all prove why I feel Sister Bear is honest. Your 3 reasons are going to prove why Sister Bear is the word you chose. Now, again, I only wrote a part of it so it can remind me when I stretch out my reasons in my actual writing, which is what we're about to do now. So finish up that last reason and then take your plan off your packet because we're going to get ready to actually stretch out our reasons and write. Okay, and we are back. I'm over here in the corner so you can see me just a little bit, but I want to make sure you can see my plan as I do my writing. So, we need our plan because we know that our plan is going to drive our writing forward. Now, we are going to stretch out our reasons in our plan, and we're going to take, when we start our writing, we're going to take our topic sentence right from our plan because that is telling the reader exactly what you believe. So we are describing the character Sister Bear. You chose the word that you felt described Sister Bear the most. You wrote it in your plan, and we're going to take all of that and put it right in our writing. Go ahead and do that now. I'm going to do that with mine. In the text, the Berenstain Bears and the big spelling bee we're writing in a complete sentence. Sister Bear is a character that is honest. All right. Now I know everything else in my writing is going to prove how and why. Okay, as I go into my reason 1, I wrote, next Tuesday I have an important soccer practice. How does that show how Sister Bear is being honest? She says that to her teacher. She wants her teacher to know that she's worried because she's afraid she might not get to do both. So, when I start off, I could say first, I could think about how this story goes beginning, middle, and end, and I could say from the beginning, okay? So that's the one I'm going to choose for today. You're going to choose which one you want. First or from the beginning? From the beginning. Sister Bear tells her teacher tells her teacher why she is worried. Now, when you stretch out your reason, you're just explaining your evidence in a different way. So she said, next Tuesday I have an important soccer practice. That shows us that she's being honest with her teacher about how she's feeling worried. Now I'm going to write my evidence. So I write an example of this is, and as I write mine, you're writing yours, is when she says, next Tuesday I have an important practice. Soccer practice. Okay. I'm going to let you finish up your reason 1. And then we're going to move into reason 2. Okay. Now, looking at my plan, because we always reference back our plan, on page 13 she said, I know, there's only one spelling bee. Thinking back, she said that to who? She said that to her friend, that's right. So, in her being honest with her friend, she is showing how much she cares because she's just so involved, she just can't decide which one she's going to be a part of. So, you could either say second, you could say also, okay, or next. I'm going to choose also. Also, as I write mine, I want you to write yours. You can watch me stretch out my reason first before writing yours. Now, when I stretch it out, I'm just explaining like I just did out loud. Okay, so also Sister Bear cares a lot about the things she is involved in. She wouldn't be this worried if she didn't care about missing one or the other. She wants both groups to do well. Okay? And as I stretched out my reason 2, I'm going to back it up with my evidence. I could say an example of this is, I could say one example of this is. So choose which one you're going to use, and as I write mine from my box and bullet, you're going to write yours. One example of this is when she tells her friend, I know, there's only one that shows she's honest because she's telling her friends she knows that this is going to be a hard choice to make. All right. Take that time, finish your reason 2 and your evidence. And then we're going to move in just a second to reason 3. All right. Reason 3. I'm going to reference my box and bullet again. On page 27, she said, I don't know how to say this and I don't want to disappoint you, but I don't want to go. Who did she say that to, everybody? That's right. She said it to her dad, which is the person she was, I think, the most worried about being honest with, right? She didn't want to let him down. So I know in not wanting to let him down, that's gonna be how I stretch out my reason. So I could say third, I could say lastly, I could say finally, because this is my last reason. You're going to choose one of those and you're going to start. Again, as I stretch out my reason and write my evidence, you're doing the same thing. So I'm going to say, lastly, even when she feels nervous to tell her family she shares her true feelings. And that's exactly what she did. Okay? And because this is my last example, I could say a final example is, and it's a final example of her being the word we chose, honest. A final example of this is when she tells her dad I don't know how to say this, and I don't want to disappoint you. But I don't want to go. Now remember, I didn't write the whole thing because I want just enough to prove my point. Go ahead and finish up your last reason, and then we're going to move into our conclusion. All set? All right. So for conclusion, we bring it all back together. So we're going to say, you could say all of these reasons. You could say these are all the reasons. You're going to choose one or the other. Okay? All of these reasons show what a honest character Sister Bear is. Now yours is going to be your own word. So again, as I write my conclusion, you are writing yours. All of these reasons show what an honest character Sister Bear is. All right. Now we have finished our writing. I'm going to hold it up close to the screen so you can pause this. Whoop. So you can pause this video. And I will also also include a picture so you can see it. Okay? Now, remember, when you finish your writing, you need to make sure that you're checking your capitals, which come at the beginning of a sentence. We're making sure that proper nouns are capitalized. We're making sure we have punctuation. We're making sure we have finger spaces. And lastly, we make sure our writing makes sense. All right, I know this was very, very hard work, given that we had to use the book and go back and forth all in one day. So I want you to kiss your brain, be super proud of yourselves, and share your writing with someone. You could leave a comment below. You could send one of your teachers a video. And remember that writing is a process. All right, everyone. Until next time.